is 9 News at 5.
Good afternoon. South Australian health authorities are right now battling to prevent a cluster of COVID-19 cases in Adelaide from becoming a second wave. It's already been linked to schools, aged care, shops and medical facilities. Rory McLaren joins us now to give us the very latest. Rory, we have new case numbers.
We do, Edward, and health authorities have just addressed the media and they have told us there are now 17 confirmed cases. They've also confirmed scores of other people have been sent into quarantine, all after the infection was somehow carried from a quarantine hotel, in the heart of the city.
It's fair to say that we are now facing our biggest test to date, but we can and we must rise to this new challenge. We have world-leading health experts and world-leading systems that have helped keep South Australia safe and strong. I want to assure all South Australians that we are working around the clock to stay ahead of this cluster. No effort will be spared to slow and stop the spread.
We have seen hundreds of people lining up throughout the day for a test at Parafield Airport, and it's been like this at other locations across Adelaide as people try to do their bit to prevent a second wave by getting tested. So far, this cluster has affected 3 schools. One of those is Thomas More College, closed because a student is a confirmed case, while Mawson Lakes Primary and Preschool has also been closed as a precaution. As well, 2 staff members from a Brompton aged care facility have tested positive. That facility now in lockdown and families worried about the implications for those positive results. Right now across the northern and western suburbs, various shops, medical facilities, cafes and restaurants have been closed or are the subject of alerts because people linked to the cluster have been there. There are also concerns they extend to various bus services running between the city and Adelaide's north. Now, Edward, it's important that people go to SAHealth's dedicated website to see if they have been to any of these venues where they may have picked up the infection. There's basically a link there to the contract tracing page. Edward?
Okay, thank you for those details, Rory McLaren. And the COVID cluster has sparked immediate action by authorities with a range of restrictions imposed once again on South Australians. Gyms and recreation centres and play centres will be closed from midnight. Community sport and training sessions also put on hold, while there will be new caps on hospitality, weddings, funerals, church services and private gatherings.
As of midnight tonight, we will have a direction which specifically prohibits activities at gyms, recreation centres, trampoline and play cafes. These will close. And can I just say that it is likely that we will have these directions in place for 2 weeks. Of course, if we can remove them earlier, we certainly will. But all of these that I'm talking about now, we envisage will be in place for the next 2 weeks. So gyms, recreation centres, trampoline, play cafes to close. Community sports fixtures and training temporarily cancelled. And this applies to indoor and outdoor sports, contact and non-contact. But I would advise that outdoor fitness activities like boot camps can continue exactly as they were in the early days of the COVID restrictions in South Australia. Funerals will now be capped at 50 people and it will be a requirement to observe 1 per 4 square metres. Churches capped at 100. Again, 1 per 4 square metres. Weddings, all guests must be registered with the CDCB, the Communicable Diseases Control Branch, via the online form, but at this stage, no changes. Private gatherings at licensed venues will now be capped at 50 with 1 per 4 square metres and no stand-up consumption. Hospitality, pubs, clubs and restaurants will be capped at 100 per venue with 1 per 4 square metres and no stand-up consumption even outdoors, and a maximum booking of 10 people in our hospitality sector, pubs, clubs and restaurants. Private residents are capped now at 10 persons per residence, and all activities with an approved COVID management plan scheduled for the next 2 weeks have been cancelled.
People are also being urged to work from home if they can, wear a mask where social distancing is not possible, like public transport, and avoid unnecessary travel. A wave of public concern over the outbreak prompting people en masse to head to testing stations right across Adelaide. One of the busiest was at Parafield, where SAHealth set up a pop-up screening area in the cluster epicentre. Reporter Harvey Biggs has more.
Well, this is an extraordinary response by the people of Adelaide's northern suburbs to SA Health's pleas to try and get tested as this cluster has continued to grow. This pop-up testing clinic here at Parafield Airport opened this morning around 8 o'clock, and already there were hundreds of people in line, and throughout the day it has just continued to grow and grow. It stretches right the way down here and back up onto the main street, stretching again right the way down. There are hundreds and hundreds of people here willing to wait hours on end to make sure that they are getting swabbed. One of them is a student from Thomas More College, which is closed today because of a confirmed case there. It's one of their classmates who tested positive. Take a listen.
One of the kids in my class tested positive for COVID, so I just thought it's better to be safe. I got very stressed out. I started freaking out this morning when I got the message from our school, but there's nothing we can really do about it besides stay safe about it.
It's making sure that my community's safe and I'm safe and those in my family are safe as well. But yeah, the line situation is ridiculous.
So these cases of community transmission have really sparked the testing blitz, not just here in the north, but right across Adelaide metropolitan area, including the Repat, where it's been so busy that cars have had to be diverted away from there. So too at Victoria Park, where cars were backed up right along Fullerton Road, right the way down to Green Hill Road. And that's exactly what health authorities want. They want as many people being tested as possible so they can lock down on this outbreak.
The cluster here in South Australia has prompted Western Australia, the Northern Territory and Tasmania to immediately close their borders with us. Queensland will follow suit from midnight. Kate Lamb is at Adelaide Airport for us. Kate, many airline passengers have already had their plans thrown into chaos.
That's right, Edward. Less than 48 hours after WA opened its border to us, it became the first state to close them last night. Passengers boarding a Qantas flight to Perth, learning they would have to self-isolate for 2 weeks upon arrival. The news frustrating many who chose to collect their bags and stay in Adelaide instead.
Devastating, because she hasn't seen our family in Perth for a year.
I think people were stunned, there were upset people there. We just didn't know what was going on.
The airport chaos continuing today, with travellers anxiously waiting as one by one Tasmania, the Northern Territory and Queensland also imposed mandatory quarantine requirements, while those heading to Victoria and New South Wales will be interviewed upon arrival and urged to get tested if they develop symptoms. The changes catching many passengers off guard. Take a listen.
To wake up this morning thinking that we're going home to our family and friends and our home, to be told that we're going to be having to self-isolate in a hotel for 14 days.
I'm not happy about quarantining, but it's something I can't control.
And there's still a great deal of confusion down here at Adelaide Airport this evening, with many travellers anxious to learn when they can resume their travel plans as usual. Edward.
Okay, thank you, Kate. Let's go live now to Mike Lorrigan at the Medi Hotel, which has been identified as the cause of this cluster. And Mike, what more do we know about this?
Well, Edward, we have found out this afternoon that 3 members of this Parafield cluster are employees of the Medi Hotels here in Adelaide CBD. 2 of them are private security guards and one of them is a backhouse employee. And I have just received information that it is the backhouse employee that is the source infection in this cluster, and that this person contracted COVID-19 non-directly. We know that one of these members is an employee here at the Peppers Hotel, and this is what has prompted, this is the source of this outbreak, and this has also prompted significant concern and anger in the community. Our politicians and our authorities have spoken this afternoon. Professor Nicholas Spurrier and the Premier Stephen Marshall addressed this a little earlier.
We have 3 people that work in a Medi Hotel. We've got one person that's employed by the hotel and works back of house, and then there are 2 security guards. The security staff are part of a private company, but absolutely to stress, the way we have run our Medi Hotels is that the oversight is by SA Health and SAPOL, and so we have police presence at all times and nursing presence at all times in all of our Medi Hotels.
I couldn't be more confident that we are providing as secure arrangement as possible in relation to how we manage our Medi Hotels. But as has been pointed out, this is highly infectious, easily caught, and even the very best medical professionals can actually catch this whilst they're doing their very best to avoid it as well. I'm quite certain there is no complacency within the quarantine hotel environment. My officers are conducting regular inspections. We're using CCTV to monitor compliance with all staff inside the facility.
Now, in order to cater for this potential second wave, more room needs to be freed up in the city's Medi hotels. There is currently a capacity for 1,200 people, and around 1,100 people, it changes day to day, are currently in the Medi hotel system. Premier Stephen Marshall has announced that all international inbound flights into Adelaide have now been cancelled. This will free up some much needed room in our Medi hotels for more positive cases in this outbreak. Edward?
Okay, thanks for those details there, Mike Lorrigan. Supermarket shelves are being stripped bare once again. The COVID cluster reigniting panic buying across Adelaide. Throughout the day, we've seen toilet paper fly off the shelves, some stores even bringing back limits on popular items like toilet roll, similar to what we saw back in March. Drake Supermarket says it's monitoring the situation hourly and may also impose strict limits. Well, it's time to take a look at the commute home now for you, and there are long delays on Marion Road at Park Holme. Make sure you allow extra time if you're using the Southeastern Freeway. Watch out for roadworks on Lower North East Road, but there's a cleared run home at the moment on Goodwood Road. Something a little more uplifting now, and Jessica Braithwaite, at least we had a pleasant spring forecast for the week to come.
Yes, Edward, I can bring you a pleasant spring forecast for today. Now, it's certainly a lot cooler today than what it was yesterday. Yesterday we had 38 degrees. Today it was 21 degrees. But we saw lots of sunshine, and that's the main thing. And there is a lot more sunshine on the way this week. In fact, we're going to see temperatures gradually rising to the mid-20s tomorrow and even the low 30s for Wednesday and Thursday. The only thing I can't promise you is rain for the garden, but I'll bring you the full forecast very soon.
Okay, thank you, Jessica. Next in the news at 5, share market shut down, the computer glitch that brought trade to a standstill. Plus, the 91-year-old paraglider who crashed and walked away unscathed.